guys, Tomboy601, and today we have Napoli, the all-new legendary tier cruiser for the Italians. Too long didn't read. If you have the space, go research this ship now. I think, unless you're still researching Daring, I think Napoli should be one of the top ships you're out there researching, just because it is a blast to play. So what is it? Well, it's an Italian heavy cruiser with SAP secondaries, long reload, low DPM, but a insanely well armored turtleback and also side armor, meaning it's a very high skill ceiling, especially when you put on those rudder shift builds. It's a ton of fun. Anyways, if you haven't been for a review, what we're going to do, we're going to go over the commander, the stats, the modules, then consumables, and then show off a game in it. So if that sounds good, let's just dive on in. And first things first, let's talk about that commander. And who are we running? None other than the good old Francesco Mimbelli base trait. It's going to boost that main battery reload time. Then we have his inspirations as Norm Scott and Baltimore. This is my default Mimbelli build. I don't like switching them up for every single ship because I don't like trying to remember every single build. The reason we have Scott on here, yes, Napoli. She has some of the best accuracy in the game, 2.1 Sigma, one of the best cruiser accuracies in the game. But with the introduction of SAP on the regular line, I find that having Scott for the regular line is a bit helpful. Running Baltimore to get that extra rudder shift. Then we have Ingenious, full speed ahead, Velocious, steer clear, and the good old fully packed. So pretty much what you would expect from a pretty much rudder build. I could also absolutely see you're running the good old Soundwave on there. After that, let's go ahead and talk those mod slots. First things first, we have secondary battery mod 2. This is going to bring out our default, our base range out to 6 kilometers. Very helpful on this boat. Then we are running double rudder. And finally, the good old gunfire control mod number 2, which is going to help with main battery dispersion and the range. You could also absolutely run the main battery mod 3 for that extra little bit of reload time, but I'm liking main battery mod 2 at the moment. Cool. Next, on to the consumables. Well, it's an Italian cruiser. It's kind of what you would expect from an Italian cruiser. You got damage control party. It's going to last 5 seconds. Reload in 57 seconds. You got the exhaust smoke generator. It's going to puff out for 20 seconds. Then it's going to disperse for 35 seconds. So you can sit in that last puff of smoke for 35 seconds. And it's going to reload in 171 seconds. You're going to get 3 charges of it. Alternatively, you could use the AA thing, but use the smoke. The smoke is what you need to be using. Then we have Catapult Fighter. You get 4 of those. And the Repair Party. 3 charges on the Repair Party. Health you're going to be regaining back is 8,260. The kind of in the middle as far as cruiser heals go at the tier. So those are all of that. Let's go ahead now and dive on into the stats. So Napoli, hit points, 59,200 hit points. With an armor thickness between 16 and 330 meters or millimeters. And let's go ahead and take a look at that armor. First thing you'll notice, icebreaker bow, 60 millimeters down below, 25 up top. So if you come in contact with one of these, and you'll see this in our game, you want to aim right through that bow. A good Napoli player is going to try to suck you in with the side armor, because as you can see, a 220 millimeter belt, and a good chunk above that as well. All of that will be able to ricochet pretty much anything battleship related. And if we go ahead and take it all back, you can see we also have a beautiful little turtleback armor scheme, and that citadel sits proudly just above the waterline. But once again, it's all turtleback, so it protects itself incredibly well. This is a very well-armored boat. You just need to know how to play her, and that's the big thing. This is going to be a high-skill ceiling boat. So that's the armor. Torpedo reduction, you're looking at a respectable, best at the tier for the class, 21%, and then a total potential health of 83,009 80. Main battery, you have three 3-barrel 254 millimeter guns with a firing range of 16.3 kilometers. Reload time on them, 16 second, making it one of the longer reloads at the tier. It's going to give you a shells per minute of 33. 180 time on those guns, 20.9 seconds, with an HE damage of 3,450, giving you a DPM of 100,050, the lowest at the tier. Chance of fire on those shells, 16%, also one of the lower ones at the tier. After that, we have AP. You're going to be doing 6,150 damage, giving you a DPM of 202,950. Once again, the lowest at the tier. It's a very low DPM ship, but don't let that fool you. Secondaries. Two sets of secondary, 6 2-barreled 90 millimeters and 4 3-barreled 152s with a range of 6 kilometers. For the 90 millimeters, you're looking at a 3.2 second reload, 2,000 damage, 0% chance to set fire because they are SAP. The 152s, you're looking at a 7.2%. The 152s, you're looking at a 7.2 second reload and a damage of 3,850. Torpedoes, well, you got two 4-barreled 533 millimeter torps with a reload time of 95 seconds. They're located at the aft end of the boat. You get some really decent firing angles on these, especially when you have your ship facing rearward. Damage on them, 13,900. Detectability range, 1.1 kilometers. Top torp speed is 56 knots and a range of 13.5 kilometers. Some pretty decent ranged torpedoes. AA, it's meh. 4 kilometer default range with a minimum damage of 81, and that will go up to 315, the worst of any cruiser. Max speed of the vessel, 40.3 knots. We do have the speed flag equipped. Turning radius, 750 meters with a rudder shift time of 3.2 seconds. Concealment, detectability by sea is going to be 11 kilometers, air 6.9, and when firing in smoke, 7.6. And those are all of the stats of the good old Napoli. Let's now go ahead and take a look at a game in her. So welcome to good old Shards. And before we get into the gameplay, one little quirk feature that you do need to be aware about on Napoli. Currently, aiming is a bit bugged with her. Myself and several of the CCs, we've reported this, but I think I was the first one to really notice it. When you get in closer ranges with Napoli and you have a relatively quick move and target, the aim assist in the game will go wildly off. It will extend your lead by over a ship lengths. So if you get into a brawling situation, or if they don't fix this, hopefully they fix this, because literally this is one of the things that drives me crazy about the boat. If it didn't have this bug, I'd be absolutely in love. But knowing that if I get in a brawling situation, I'm going to be at a mega disadvantage, not know when I'm going to be at that disadvantage, because whenever this glitch decides to proc, it's become a little bit of an annoyance to me. But you will sometimes see the if you have a ship moving at a decent speed within like 5-ish kilometers, your aim assist will be way ahead of where it should be. And at least for me, it takes a good amount of recalibrating, because for me, I aim all based on feel and, you know, kind of guessing where I need to go. But for me, it's a bunch of feel, and that just throws me off to no end. Anyways, we are on Shards. We can see that we're getting detected by the booster. We're trying to get this cap in before anyone else gets in, and we're kind of poking and prodding, seeing what we can do. We saw that that no one is kind of pushing off to this left-hand side, so we're going to try to sneak up and do what we can. We are an incredibly well done brawler. Napoli, let me just say, it is an incredible cruiser hunter. These shells, when they can find their way to a cruiser, it is gross. You will be dev striking Worcesters and whatnot. They just kind of melt. So that's always fun. We can see some torpedoes pop in right there. And now we are going to try to swing around. We know we haven't dealt with anything because we haven't seen what's exactly causing this smoke yet, but we have this Conqueror in close range. We're going to go ahead and try to engage it. Remember, our side armor does have the ability to really punch, to really take any abuse from Conqueror. We just have to be prepared and angle correctly. We can see some of those shells that went through our nose, those absolutely ate it, but everything else was fairly fine. We're going to dump off this set of torps at the Conqueror, flip over to good old Minotaur here, go ahead, drop some shells for him. We can see we nearly dev strike him. We'll go ahead and use the torpedoes to finish him off, and then try to use this smoke to disengage. We've taken a good chunk of damage, but we do just want to try get some distance between us and this Conqueror. Let him try and focus on someone else. You see right there where the main battery just didn't do much to us. Blind fires us, does fairly well there. At this point, he's kind of committed to going around. We don't think he's going to get another reload. We'll go ahead, let him severely weakened be dealt with by our teammate. We're already up to 125,000 damage, less than 4 minutes into the match. And that's the magic of Napoli right there. Just being able to survive that cacophony of ships right there is why Napoli is probably going to be the most fun legendary cruiser for a while. So if you want, get it started researching, especially if you're a big cruiser fan. So Conqueror got dealt with. Marlborough was able to deal with him. Shimakaze coming in. We'll go ahead and load our HE, see if we can get our SAPs. We're already at 2 kills. We're like, oh man, this is a good match. But well, Marlborough kind of had a different plan at this point. Like, okay, well, how do we want to deal with this? Because right now we're not doing too great on the map. We're doing okay on the map control department, but there is a large issue. Our 2 midpoint battleships are pushed out beyond that first island, and generally what that means is the remainder of the enemy team is going to concentrate them one by one, pick them off, and they won't be lasting long. So we're going to try to get over to B, get it capped, and then just try to do a stalwart defense of B in the hopes of being able to win. We're up on ships, but like I said, I'm none too confident in our ability to really hold and maintain and win this match. So off to B we go. A couple of other things you need to know about Napoli. She is one of the bureau projects that you can use those news research points on, which is always great. Additionally, she is also one of the bureau projects that requires you to use certain ships in certain segments in order to advance at all. You will need both the Tier 6 and Tier 7 Italian cruisers in your port. If you're not aware of what those are, that's the Zara and the Amalfi. You need to have them both in your port if you want to be able to research Napoli fully. So, get grinding if you don't have them, and be prepared in order to use them. So as we get close, it's time to kind of reevaluate the tactical situation. We've both lost 1 ship in the amount of time it took me to explain all of that. But we see something that the enemy team is doing that our team is not. They are starting to spread out, or at least one of their teammates is starting to spread out. As you can see, one of their battleships heading off to the right-hand side, Frederick de Gross, starting to charge our guy off to the left. We're going to begin engaging Frederick de Gross. AP is kind of the Napoli strong suit. As we saw earlier, it's not a high DPM ship. It relies on you getting citadels in order to kind of keep itself sustainable within the fight and make it comparable to anyone else. And that's what you kind of have to aim for. Luckily, you do have really good accuracy with Napoli in order to be able to accomplish that, right? Has some of the best accuracy for any cruiser. But that's what you need to be doing in order to keep Napoli competitive, because it does not have the default DPM to really keep up with anyone else. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as far as what you're planning on doing, how you are going about your engagements. The AP or the HE is serviceable. I would really only use it on bow-in battleships or the occasional destroyer. And for the destroyers, it can get a little rough, especially because, well, you don't have sonar. It's an Italian cruiser. The good thing is you do have those SAP secondaries, which do an incredibly well job at being able to help you when you need to engage destroyers. But you kind of have to be conscious that you don't have sonar. You can, especially when you get in those knife fight situations, easily be torped by these guys. Anyways, we've now captured B, and my job is get out of here without taking too much damage. So I'm going to pop my smoke here, try to use it to cross this little area, and hopefully not eat any shots from like Marlboro or anyone. Unfortunately, we don't have very long-lasting smoke on our Italian battleships, and as you can see, I'm barely being able to get out of the engagement area, and I'm just going to get spotted pretty much instantly, not really helping out. We do hit 2 torps on Grosse Konfus, but my job now is to go in on this Montana. We do have to be cautious of Montana as we take a good chunk of damage to the front, because, well, he can go ahead and punch right through our nose, and that's what we need to be careful about right here. We can see he's starting to turn broadside. We're trying to find that citadel on him. We go ahead and just shatter 2 of the shells, unfortunately, and we're just trying to line up this torpedo strike on him. We're getting nice and close, and, well, we're going to get 1 salvo in here. There we go. And line up those torps. Get ready for the shot. And down we go. Yeah. 25 millimeter bow. If you don't angle correctly, you can go ahead and just end your match nice and quickly. But guys, that is Napoli. Like I said, I think she is a fantastic vessel. High skill ceiling, a ton of fun to play, a true brawler cruiser, and one that will make you have a good time. So guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.